Alright, what I'm about to say is probably really offensive to a lot of people. Probably gonna get me canceled, probably gonna lose my career before it even starts, but just hear me out, listen to what I have to say. Life sucks. I know, I came out, I said it, I know I'm super brave for saying that, but I just wanted to come out and say it. And so, what do we do about that? Like everyone's life, we all know it's one problem after another. It's never easy, it's never fixed. There's always something you are dreading. And so, what can you do about it? You could do two things. You could either try to fix your problems in life and make it better and try to, be a responsible adult about it. Or you can do what I do and watch comfort movies. I will always say that comfort movies are easily the best kinds of movies. That's something you can rely on no matter what. No matter how bad of a day you're having, no matter what kind of situation you're going through, put on one of your comfort movies. Just have a nice, relaxing night and forget all your problems for just a little period of time and go into this other world and experience it. I have quite a few bit of comfort movies I'd like to talk about. And I mean, maybe there's your comfort movies too. I mean, would have that in common. And so, yeah, I mean, stick around till the end to see everything that I said I enjoy watching over and over again. And I mean, if you like this video, subscribe, share the video, comment down below what your comfort movies are. But yeah, I mean, let's not get this intro dragging on for too long. Let's just begin. It's such a beautiful day. It's honestly my probably has to be my favorite movie of all time. I want to make a video about this, but I want to really wait a while to perfectly figure out how to get my style good because I want to put a lot of effort into a review about that movie. It's legitimately like a movie that has affected me more than I can really talk about in words. And I can't do it enough justice, so I'm going to be waiting to really talk about it too deep, but I just want to say that like it's a perfect movie at capturing the beauty of the little things in life. Just the simplistic, just amazingness of, and just I already said, like the true beauty of everything that we see that are around us, and that the beauty doesn't come without its struggles. And there's plenty of struggles that this movie talks about, and that's kind of the thing about it. Where like you see all this hardship that goes on in this movie, and yet there's just a sense of just genuineness of all the struggles and pain that you watch, and it works really well. It works with showing just how beautiful of a day it can really be. Pulp Fiction is another one that I used to say was my favorite movie of all time. I have since watched more movies and realized it does get better than that. But even still, with that being said, I still rewatch this movie a lot because just because I don't think it's a five-star perfect movie doesn't mean that I still don't love it. It's one of those movies where you can revisit it over and over again, and every time it feels like you're hanging out with your best friends. I feel like whenever I turn on the movie, it's just me, Jules, and Vincent just riding around the streets of LA and just talking and just doing stuff. And that's really what I love most about it, is that it just feels like it's just me and a couple of friends hanging out, doing some minor crimes. It's That's where it works perfectly. I feel like I've listened to this dialogue so often that like I've had it all memorized. I basically have that entire apartment scene all memorized in my head by this point. And just watching it, it feels like I'm the third hitman in that room, just watching Jules just give that Ezekiel 25:17 little monologue that he does. I feel like King of Staten Island is a movie that's kind of been forgotten in time, and it was in that weird phase. It was one of the first movies that came out during the COVID era of Hollywood, where movies were coming out on streaming and everything. And this was really like one of the first major ones that went straight to VOD. And so it kind of got forgotten in time. And I really hate that because I remember watching this for the first time. It felt like the movie was talking to me. It still feels like the movie is talking to me. It feels like Okay, we all have those movies where it feels like the director's specifically talking to you and specifically making this movie just for you. In actuality, he's not. They're not actually making this movie for you, but it feels like it does. And when I watched that movie for the first time, it really felt like Judd Apatow was just looking directly at me through the lens and just talking to me, talking about the same struggles and fears that I have that you see in this movie. It felt surreal because, like, it seemed like that was the perfect movie that I needed to see when I watched it for the first time. I still need to watch it. Like, I'm still having a lot of those struggles and everything that it really just seemed like I was being spoken to, like he was specifically looking at me while watching it. And it brings that kind of comfort of like getting a lot of these answers to life that I really find myself constantly asking about. It worked so well because of that. I love that movie way more than most people did, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with having my own special little movie that I get to love and enjoy. One movie that probably not a lot of people were expecting me to say, it's the John Wick movies, specifically the first two. Now, I'm not saying that the first two are my favorites. I know a lot of people don't agree with me on this one. I think three is my personal favorite. But when I'm talking about comfort movies, the first two John Wicks, I have seen countless of times by this point. Like I've seen those movies over and over again. A lot of the times it's like on TV, on like regular TV. They like to play the first John Wick a lot. And so I rewatch specifically like the opening like hour of that movie so many times by this point. And it's gotten to the point where like it sort of feels nostalgic, and it just kind of like feels comfortable of like just watching John Wick going through bad guy after bad guy, just this unstoppable machine that just nobody can stop him from getting to where he needs to go. And I feel like I just have the best memories, especially like watching it with people. I'll talk about these both in the same section because for the most part, it mostly cover the same grounds. That's Airplane and Spaceballs. I still to this day say that Airplane is my favorite comedy ever made. It's it's so genuinely impressive. The countless of times I have watched that movie just on repeat over and over again, and how many jokes that went over my head the first 100 times that I'm just now getting. So I had a phase in my life where I want to say about a month or two. I would watch Spaceballs at least once, maybe twice a day. I'm not even exaggerating. I'm still surprised that my DVD of Spaceballs is actually still functioning. I don't know how I didn't completely wear it out because I when I watched that movie when I was a little kid, I couldn't stop watching it. I was obsessed over with, and the reason why like I wanted to pick this as my comfort movie on this list is because those comedies are just so genuinely funny. I legit don't think there's a single joke in these two movies that I don't laugh at. They're like by the end, my stomach's hurting, my cheeks are turning red. It's the perfect kind of comedy that I love to watch nonstop. These two comedies are everything that I look for and what I want a funny movie to be. Another comedy I'll mention is The Big Lebowski. That's another one of those movies where it's the same with Pulp Fiction, where like I feel like I'm just hanging out with these people. I feel like I'm hanging out with the dude, listening to Walter talking about his time in Vietnam and how everything always comes back to Vietnam and all the nihilists trying to do everything that they try to do and the rug and everything. It's the best movie of just feels like you're hanging out with these guys and you're just going along this journey with them. I think this one especially works far more better than Pulp Fiction, just because Pulp Fiction has a lot of different storylines and like it doesn't really fully feel like I'm hanging out with them all the time. The Big Lebowski, it feels like I'm sitting down right next to the dude the entire time and just going with this journey with them. It's a good movie to watch with your friends. You can just laugh at everything that goes on, the absurdity of it all, and just it's a fun, enjoyable experience. That's a lot of what I look for in these comfort movies. Enjoyable experiences. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is also a recent addition I've had to this list. I get that it's a sequel, it's the second one, and the story entirely relies on the third movie. And at the time of doing this video, I don't know. The third one hasn't even had this trailer yet. We don't know when that's coming out. And so I might be watching this years from now and knowing that, oh, the third one sucks, is horrible. I don't think it will, but I mean, it could end up being a terrible movie. But even with all that being said, and even with like this only being a part of a bigger story, man, this probably has to be like one of my favorite animated movies of all time. Obviously, It's Just Such a Beautiful Day is my favorite animated movie of all time. It's my favorite movie of all time. But this is very much a close second. I feel like I'm really with these characters. I feel like I'm next to everyone while this goes on. It's such a just like it's a movie that like grabs you by your heart and like keeps you pulled down with it, and a lot of just intense things happen, a lot of funny moments happen. This is another movie where like I'm constantly laughing at each joke. There's constantly so many jokes that go over my head that I'm learning like so many rewatches down the line. This is what I look for in a comfort movie, and it brings me so much happiness to just be with these Spider-Man and watching them. Maybe this is cheating a little bit, but I'm just gonna say it. Anything by Yorgos Lanthimos, instantly a comfort watch. He's probably has my favorite style of filmmaking of all time. Just look at just I always say this, watch The Lobster, you know everything you need to know about his style. Even recently with Kinds of Kindness, which just released. It's strangely comforting watching like a lot of these stories, like terrible things happening to probably not so great people and some great good people too, and a lot of just bad stuff happening, but at the same time this just this strange level of comfort to it all. And I think that's ultimately comes down to just Yorgos Lanthimos himself with his style. He's really such a special filmmaker, and I get so excited every time I hear about a new movie that he's doing because I love him so much. Hey, you know what? I cheated on this list once. I'm going to cheat on it again. Anything that's Godzilla related, specifically the older Godzilla movies, like during the 60s and 70s, that those movies are so special to me. I really think the biggest thing when I look at like the earliest bits of my childhood, what got me into movies? It's Godzilla. Everything with Godzilla, everything involving Godzilla, that's what ultimately got me into movies. Especially, Godzilla Final Wars is not a five-star movie, but when I watch it, it sure feels like one. It feels like everything that I love about the whole, like everything with Godzilla, just all put into 2 hours of some of the most insane, just wild fight scenes and plots and characters you'll ever see. It's it's so amazing watching it. But still, I really love everything that's Godzilla related. I mean, they're not great movies, but they're enjoyable movies. And at the end of the day, that's all I'm asking for. But this video is already long enough. That's my comfort movies. Those are the big ones, at least. I mean, what do you think about this? I mean, what movies do you agree with, disagree with? I mean, tell me everything you think. And I mean, if you want a part two of this video, I mean, like and subscribe to the channel. Share it if you want to get more people to enjoy this video. And that's really all I have to say. Those are my biggest comfort movies that I've been watching about all my life with some of these films. And yeah, I mean, I'd love to talk about more of these movies in later videos. But I mean, until next time, it's movie talk. See ya.